Most new drivers struggle keeping their car centred in their lane. This is normally because they're looking in the wrong place, and it's particularly a problem with nervous learners because if you're nervous, you're more likely to look in the wrong place, which makes your position worse and makes you more nervous, so it's a vicious circle. Let me show you where you're probably looking and where you need to look to stay in the middle of your lane. Looking at the line in the middle of the road will make you drive too close to the curb. This is because from your perspective, the line looks a lot closer than it is, so in trying to avoid the line, you hit the curb. When you avoid the middle, you get close to the side, and when you avoid the side, you get close to the middle. This repeats itself and you end up weaving down the road. Now I'm going to give you a tip that will be a game changer in helping you stay in the middle of your lane. The tip certainly is easier said than done, but if you're able to do this, it will really help you stay in a good position. And the tip is, don't look at what you're trying to avoid, look at where you're trying to go. All sounds easy, but if you worry about the vehicle on the other side of the road, it's your instinct to try and avoid that vehicle. And when you try to avoid something on one side of the road, you end up too close to the other side of the road. So a big step in becoming a competent driver is to stop avoiding and start taking aim of where you want to go. To focus on your aim, you need to stop thinking about the width of your car and where the line or the curb is. As you can see in this image, due to perspective, the width of your car looks a lot wider than your lane. So you can't pay attention to this. Instead, focus on the middle of your lane and try to keep the middle of your car in the middle of your lane. However, trying to judge where the middle of your car is can also be challenging. To help you with this, try not to think about where your car is, but instead think about where you are sitting. In the UK, you're sitting on the right side of your car with your left leg more or less near the middle of your car. So position yourself so that you feel like your left leg is in the middle of your lane. Then the middle of your car will be in the middle of your lane. And as long as your space is wide enough, you should be fine. But judging if your space is wide enough can also be challenging. Here is another example of how much smaller your space can look in comparison to your car due to perspective. To help you judge if that space is big enough, try to imagine this parked car next to itself or this oncoming car next to itself. Most cars are of a similar width, within about 20 centimeters or so. So if you can fit them in the space, you should be able to fit. How far you look is important for bends. You want to look as far forward as possible whilst keeping your view within your lane. If you look so far that your view goes over someone else's lane, you will likely drive over their lane. This affects all new drivers on sharp bends. They are concentrating on what could be coming round the bend so much that they focus around the bend instead of focusing on their lane, and when you focus around the bend, you end up cutting the corner as you drive round it. Try not to worry about what could be coming and instead worry more about your own position within your lane. Another reason new drivers turn early for sharp bends is because they turn when they see the beginning of the bend is close out the front window. But if you can still see the bend out the windscreen, the bend is in front of you. You are not there yet. You need to wait until the beginning of the bend is under the car and out of view before you start steering. Notice how it looks like I'm going to hit the side, but after the bend you can see that this is not the case. That's because the left side always looks closer than it really is on right bends. New drivers are also likely to get very close to roundabouts or even hit the roundabout they're trying to go around. This is because when you go around roundabouts, your car points in a very different direction to where it goes. If you try and point the front of your car in line with the curve of the roundabout, you will likely hit it. The front of your car will always be further from the roundabout than the side of your car. As you can see, the front of my car looks further from the roundabout than the side. Learners try to move the front closer, but if you do this, you will hit the roundabout. To go round successfully, you need to look at the middle of your lane without looking so far that you look over the roundabout. Ignore where the front of your car is pointing. In fact, ignore your car completely and try to steer so that you feel like you're aiming for the middle of your lane. A lot of country roads in the UK are far too narrow to keep to one half of the road. So when it's straight and there are no oncoming cars, you'll be driving partially in the middle of the road. This requires a video in itself, but what I will say for now is don't be afraid to drive over the middle of a narrow road when you can see no one is coming. Try to hold the steering wheel gently. The car is set up to go in a straight line, and if you hold it tightly, you'll be trying to do all the work. Hold the wheel gently and let the car go in a straight line on its own, whilst gently guiding it when needed. But this video will only help you if you're relaxed when you're driving. You need to be relaxed enough to hold the wheel gently and confident enough to look where you want to go and not at what you're trying to avoid. Which is why it's so important on your early lessons to be driving on roads that allow you to learn to be relaxed and gain confidence, and nothing too challenging that's going to get you uptight and tense, which will lower your confidence and make learning to drive a long ordeal. If you're practicing without an instructor, make sure you have insurance. Get £20 off via the link in the description to Collingwood, who provides specialist learner insurance that allows you to practice in a friend or family member's car without risking their no claims bonus. If you want to insure your own car, click on the link to confused.com. I have found that they have the widest selection of cheap insurers for young drivers. That's all for this one. Like if you like it and subscribe to get my future videos.